She was born on Christmas Eve, 1922, in Grabtown, 7 miles east of Smithfield, North Carolina. Her mother was 39 years old. Ava was the youngest of the family. She had 4 sisters and 2 brothers. There's the schoolhouse, I guess. Look at those curls. Her father was a farmer who had to give up the farm during the Great Depression. This is where she grew up in Johnson County, Brogdon community. There's the home place. They lived at a school. Her father was a caretaker of the property. Her mother ran the boarding house. Brogdon Teacherage is what that place was called. They moved to Virginia from 1935 to 1938. When her father died, her mother decided to move back to North Carolina, and they went to Wilson, North Carolina. She was attractive as a teenager. Yes, she was, and invited to dances in Chapel Hill. Wow. Ava's older sister, nicknamed Bappy, moved to New York City and married a professional photographer named Larry Tarr. In the summer of 1939, Ava visited Bappy in New York City. He took her picture, displayed it in the window of his shop, and it caught the eye of an MGM scout, I guess it was. The young man wasn't really a scout, he was just trying to get a date. So Larry Tarr made a series of photographs and took them to the MGM offices in New York City. MGM was interested and made an appointment for Ava to do an audition. The studio was intrigued by her beauty and decided to offer her a 7-year contract. Ava's mother didn't want her to take the job, but Bappy decided to go with her to California. Ava was 18 years old and making $50 a week as an apprentice actress for MGM Studios. Wow, this looks like a prison jail photograph. Maybe it sort of was. She was apprentice to the MGM Dream Factory. Ava was under contract with MGM from 1941 to 1958. She recalled her early years. I got $50 a week, and courtesy of a little firecracker embedded in my contract, the studio had the right to impose an annual 12-week layoff period during which my pay dropped to $35. I had to accept any and all roles assigned to me. Well, it is sort of like being in jail, huh? Except there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I had to make personal appearances for publicity purposes, or for any other reason they could think up. I could not ever leave Los Angeles, even when I was on vacation without their permission. Wow. Afraid of my North Carolina accent made me, as Bappy put it, very, very Southern. They even told her not to talk during the audition. But she had a speech coach at MGM. giving back, visiting people. There's her and Mickey. Full stardom. Wow, they got a ranking. Is there such thing as a semi-stardom or junior star? Media magnet. I can see why. She did not like the media. 1955, she moved to Spain to get away from it. This was before they were known as paparazzi. They hounded her endlessly. Must have been pretty tough having a camera stuck in your face all the time. Didn't have much privacy, did she? So her first few roles were walk-ins, walk-ons, or whatever you want to call it. I don't think she had a speaking part. Three Men in White, I guess about doctors. There's Madman. I don't know what that's all about. I guess that's her right there. And on this one, right here, Ava and her men. Her first husband was Mickey Rooney, who was infatuated with her the moment he saw her on a set, and introduced himself and got her phone number and got a date. Look at this cool picture right here. This has got to be a country church. Yep, Saint Agnes. So she and Mickey Rooney were married a year, I think, and then she married Artie Shaw. One year, she and Mickey Rooney were married. Artie Shaw. They were married a year as well, I believe. Yep. Honk if you've been married to Mickey Rooney. How many times was he married? Okay, I'm gonna do a panorama of the museum, the main part of it. In the meantime, back to her timeline of her life and career. Letters from Frank Sinatra. And letters to Frank Sinatra. I guess she was married 3 times. Yeah, she married Frank Sinatra in 1971. 51. She was 28, he was 35. His career in music was at a lull, and he was trying to get into the movies. And I guess Frank was the love of Ava's life. The legendary crooner. He was the last husband, so she was married 3 times. So she helped him get the part in From Here to Eternity of Maggio, which won him an Oscar. They divorced in 1957. So they were married 6 years. Where Ava called home. In between countless hotels and guest houses across the globe, Ava called over a dozen different places home after launching her Hollywood career in 1941. She shared various small apartments and houses in Los Angeles, one rat-infested with Sister Bappy, and then with husbands Mickey Rooney and Artie Shaw. Following her separation from Shaw in 1946, she decided to live on her own and hired Mickey Jordan as a part-time maid. She bought her first home in Nichols Canyon. I guess that's it right there. She turned over this house to Sister Bappy and rented a house by the sea at Pacific Palisades shortly before her marriage to Frank Sinatra, 1951. For the next 2 years, the couples alternated between her home and Frank's palatial home in Palm Springs. By December 1955, Ava had sold the Nichols Canyon house and at age 33 was ready to get away from all the American media attention. Madrid then became her home for the next 12 years. From 1968 until her death in 1990, she lived in London. There must be London there. And where's the one in Spain? Number 5. Is this number 5 here? Ava's Madrid home. She lived next door to exiled Argentine dictator Juan Perón. Ava becomes a star, and boy, did she have a sultry look. Burt Lancaster and her in The Killers led to her becoming a star. And then she was in a movie with her idol and her mother's idol, Clark Gable, in The Hucksters, 1947. And then she was loaned to Universal Studios for One Touch of Venus. Critics' Choice. Mogambo. Look at the size of this gorilla. He looks kind of like King Kong, doesn't he? And here we go. Showboat. And those are pretty neat. Speaking of Showboat, 1950 is when they made Showboat. Mature themes of alcoholism and racism based on the musical. She had to have her voice dubbed by Annette Warren. And here is the cast. Howard Keel, Catherine Grayson, Joe E. Brown, Agnes Boyer, Robert Sterling, Ava Gardner. In Technicolor. Ava on location. Pandora and the Flying Dutchman, 1951, changed the life of Ava Gardner forever as she experienced international travel for the first time. Exploring the sights of England between costume fittings and Spain during the filming, Ava found that she loved the freedom and privacy offered by the international scene. And then she moved overseas. In 1957, she moved to Spain and lived there for 12 years. Then in 1968, she moved to London and lived there for the rest of her life. Look at that sultry look. And 1951, Pandora and the Flying Dutchman. James Mason. And Knights of the Round Table, Robert Taylor. And what's this one? Tyrone Power, Ava Gardner. The Sun Also Rises. International Ava. December 1955, Ava left the glitz and glamour of Hollywood and moved to La Moralina, a suburb of Madrid, Spain, where she lived for 12 years. This was after her marriage. Or during her marriage with Frank, I don't know. Yeah, I think they were still married. She went with her personal companion and assistant, Renee Jordan. She made a home in Spain and fell in love with this bullfighter, Luis Miguel Domaguia, the highest paid and most sought after matador in Spain. Well, she snagged another trophy there, didn't she? That's a nice picture. And here we go. Bulls. Is she doing some bullfighting there? Ava and Gregory Peck. Beginning with their first film together at the Great Center in 1949, Ava and Gregory Peck were friends for more than 40 years. Both actors came from middle-class small American towns and on that basis struck up an immediate friendship. Peck encouraged Ava personally and professionally. They were in the snows of Kilimanjaro on the beach. On the beach. The Great Center. And here it is, the Great Center. Possessed by a power more devastating than the 7 deadly sins. Well, what could that be? Here we go. The snows of Kilimanjaro. 1952. She became good friends with our Ernest Hemingway. On the Beach, 1959. The Night of the Iguana was 1964. Ava as Maxine. Derringer, gold-plated. Okay, the Derringers have something to do with the tension between the actresses. And the lineup of cast members for The Night of the Iguana was a modern-day soap opera with romances, past and present, getting international press. The day-to-day conditions were rough, beginning with the long boat ride, rocky steps to the set, 100-plus degree temperatures. Houston made sure there was a bar on the set that became the social centerpiece for the production. Lots of boozing going on then, huh? Night of the Iguana, International Ava. So she left Spain in 1968 and moved to London, where she lived for the rest of her life with her two little dogs, her kids, or maybe one dog. Anyhow, there she is in her London apartment. Knightsbridge. Living with no regrets. Well, that's the way to be. Her real name was Ava Gardner. Lavinia, not Lucy Johnson. She was not financially struggling in her later years. She was worth $10 million at the time of her death. Frank Sinatra did not pay all her medical bills. Shortly after her stroke, he urged her to see a specialist in Los Angeles and flew her from London for treatment. Ava took no alimony from any of her three husbands, choosing to live life as a thoroughly modern woman ahead of her time in many ways. She disregarded the expectations and stereotypes of her time. She made her own way in the world, passionately, confidently, and fearlessly making her own decisions. She was one of the first celebrities to break away from Hollywood and to live abroad, and do so. In doing so, paved the way for many stars that followed her. In addition to her independence, she was compassionate and generous. Once with her family, as they left a club in Greenwich Village in New York City, they encountered a man on the street corner. After spending several minutes talking with him, she wished him well and gave him all the cash she had with her. Ava believed she could be very grateful. We all should be grateful for our good fortunes and help others. Ava visits home back in North Carolina. She visited Smithfield, lived the quiet life of Hollywood that Hollywood denied her. Came back for a 1978 class reunion. Family dinner with, I guess, her brothers and sisters, cousins. She got the key to the city. Guess they had a dance for her too, huh? Ava's costumes. After finishing her MGM contract, she became more selective about the movies that she starred in. Wow, what's that made out of? A great sinner. Gregory Peck. And look at this. It's got a fur liner there, a fur trim. And what is that? Let's see what it says here. The red gown inspired by 18th century fashion. Marie Antoinette? Is that the name of the movie? Great sinner costume right here. And what do we have here? That's Cuero. And Cassandra Crossing, 1976. Wow, it's pretty humble there, huh? This was 1949. So when this was taken. MGM's silver anniversary. This is the library, which is part of the museum. This has memorabilia and personal collections from her and from her fans. Look at that. What in the world? Headpiece from the Ballad of Tamlin and the Bluebird. Wow. Here's the interior of her London apartment. Look at the high ceiling and the big windows and the elegant furnishings. Here's her house key. Letter opener. It's a matchbook from one of her relatives running for House of Representatives. And look at the purse. And what is this? Oh, it's opera glasses. Look at that. And there's a picture of the dining room. Looks like a marble top table. And here's some of the china dinnerware that she would serve. A passion for china. Royal Copenhagen Flow Blue from her personal collection. Okay, this is the Ava Collection Showcase. Devoted fans of Ava Gardner collected items related to both her professional and personal life. Private collections contain many different kinds of artifacts, including photographs, autographs, newspaper clippings, etc. And this is part of it right here. Memories of Aunt Ava. It's her niece. One of her nieces. This is a praline doll from Louisiana she gave to her niece. Look at that costume. Castanets. Drawings by Don Kingman. Is that her dog? I guess it is. There's a movie poster. Benson Card Company movie posters. Benson Card Company in Benson. Valento boots. Milton Green Cocktree China Bowl. Decorative lamp from Spain. Wow, look at this portrait by Anthony Defrange. That is something. And look, there's a little doggy there. All right, we got some more collectibles over here. A biscuit jar. Ava's personal address book. And this is a wine glass rinsing bowl. Decanter. Oh, this is her college annual book.